Hey, welcome back to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. And today we're going to be answering a question for one of our many subscribers. Check this out. A young man just said to me, or just made this post, my team brought to my attention, I'm just getting started, I'm young, what should I invest in the world today? And you know what? We're going to unpack that question in this episode on location at our Tony Home property of the No Money Real Estate Podcast.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America. And I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let me go outside. I want to show you around as I'm talking about this, but listen, it's a freaking great question. And as everybody knows, I'm very passionate about helping people get into real estate investing and teaching people what it's all about. I got to just share this with you. I'm out here now at our tiny trailer, our tiny escape property. This is a couples retreat that we've designed and we list on Airbnb. That is the home. See if I can get it in a shot. This is a beautiful little deck up here on top of the property. And we just finished all the landscaping. My property manager, Bill, is a freaking amazing guy. And he did all this. So we go down onto a second level of the decks. And we're going to put a couple's hammock in there in the Zen garden. And then you come down here. We have a hot tub and a cold plunge. And the sauna up there. And we have a pergola we're putting in here, which is going to have a hammock hanging in it. And we've got two beautiful grass areas where couples can actually have picnics. And we've got picnic blankets and everything right here. So bring your picnic stuff if you're staying. Another picnic area there. And while I'm coming down here, I'm starting a little fire. I'm going to come to you from the fire later tonight. So let me go over here and grab a couple pieces of firewood. I'm going to put this one underneath here. Put this one on here. And we're going to stoke the fire a little bit. Hope we get this thing growing properly. And look, a great little fire for couples to hang out at. There we go. We're going to put that on top of there, and I think it's coming together. Awesome. Okay, well, listen, let me talk about this. The question was, what should I invest in? If I'm going to get into real estate investing and I'm going to do something, what should it be? And listen, there's a whole bunch of answers to that question. And it really has to do with what your priorities are in your life and your financial situation. I'm a strong proponent of house flipping for people getting started. And I'll tell you why that is. If we take a look at most people in Canada right now, very few people are happy with the money they're making. Most people have been just plunged into a certain thing they do in their life. Look at the smoke coming by me now. I look like a freaking firefighter. Holy cow. We got to hope the wind changes here in a second. They're happy with what they did in their life. I'm going to hope that moves. All right, there we go. They're not happy with what they're doing in their life. They're not making enough money. And house flipping, if you do it the right way, you can do a house flip in about 8 months and you can put $100,000 in your bank account. Now, let me ask you a question. And if you're watching this video on YouTube or on one of the video channels, I want you to go into the chat right now and be very honest with me. I'm not going to criticize you or anything, but if you suddenly made $100,000 in income in your bank account in the next 12 months, would it make a difference in your life? And would it be the best financial year you've ever had in your life? If the answer is yes to either of those things, that's a great way to get started. Now, there's some inherent risks in it if you don't do it the right way. There's a couple things that I want to tell you about. If you're going to flip properties, only do it in highly residential areas. Don't do it out in the country. What you got to ask yourself, if you're going to buy an old dilapidated property and you're going to renovate it and your hopes are that somebody's going to buy it from you quickly, you're going to sell it quickly so you can make some profits, then doesn't it make sense that you want to buy a property in the right location? So what is the right location? It's first-time home buyers. Most people buying houses right now are first-time home buyers and they're buying their first home. So you want to think about that and buy a house that after the renovations, after the increase in value, it's at a price point that a first-time home buyer with limited income is going to buy. So you want to find an old dilapidated property that is in a highly residential area with lots of other young families around it, that is within walking distance of schools, that's near near public transit because most of these families have one car and somebody's taking a bus. And if in the best locations, it's even going to be in walking distance to things like pharmacies and grocery stores. So you got to find a place in that area. And then the second thing is you got to find a piece of shit. And it's going to take some time to do that. And I'm a real estate agent. I normally look at 20 to 30 houses before I find one that's perfect to flip a property. And you got to learn how to raise capital too, because if you're going to do this the right way, you don't need any money to do it. All you have to do is find people with money and put together a proper presentation package. We call it a lender's package, and tell them how you're going to buy this property. You're going to borrow 100% of the money to buy the property. You're going to renovate the property and you're going to sell it within 6 months. And you're going to see somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 in profit. If you don't believe that is real, that you can do that, if you're already skeptical, I'm going to put a link in the bio of this show that you can go watch a full training I do on house flipping. I do webinars regularly and you can come join me on one of those. The other thing I want to tell you though, if you want to make really good ongoing income, do a short-term rental. So you guys can see behind me, this is where I am right now. I'm at our Fernwoods Escape, it's called. Let me just turn the camera on. So this property cost me 350 grand. And then we did about $100,000 in the mini Nordic spa and all the landscaping around the property. And we rent this place for $500 a night. So do the math on that. That place is booked 95% of the time. So $500 a night, 30 days, $15,000 a month. This place cost me about $8,000, $8,000 to $9,000 a month in expenses. So I put $5,000 a month in income in my pocket. So think about this. Let's say you've got a job where you're making $60,000, $70,000 a year, and you do one short-term rental. You start making $5,000 a month. Then you do another one. You're making $10,000 a month. Then you do another one. You're making $15,000 a month part-time. You're going to quit your job. So right now I've got 14 short-term rentals, all cottages, all different setups. I'll flash some of them up on the screen right now so you can see what we're doing. And of course, I got a training for that. If you're interested in short-term rentals, check out the training. It's an hour and a half long. It's a webinar that I do. I do them live. You can come check it out. Christine, my assistant, always does them with me. But to answer your question, if you're just getting into real estate investing, then I have to believe you're not making the money you want in your life. So do something like a short-term rental or house flipping to get cash flow increase, because here's what's going to happen. If you want to build a $100 million portfolio, there are 4 skills that you have to master. You have to master finding undervalued properties. You have to master acquiring the funds to do deals. You have to master increasing the value of the properties after you acquire them. And then you have to master the exit. Now, the exit depends on what you're doing. Because if you're going to buy a cottage, you're going to borrow expensive private money to acquire it and renovate it. Then you're going to increase the value enough so you've got lots of profit in it. You can go to a credit union and they'll give you a new first mortgage at a better rate. That's called an exit, where you're keeping it and moving on. You can build an apartment building, same 4 steps. You got to find the right situation financially, the cost of construction, the land you're going to buy, and then you got to learn how to acquire the money to get it. MLI Select is a really great option for that. Can show you how to do that. And then you build the building, and do that, you're going to increase the value, then you refinance it. It's all the same. You got to master those 4 steps. And so if you do house flipping, you're going to master the 4 steps. So you're going to start off house flipping, but I guarantee you over time, you're going to start building things and acquiring real estate and keeping it. And it's going to change your life forever. So there's 2 options I just gave you: house flipping or short-term rentals. Try one of them, learn the skills, and go change your life forever.